Listen, this is Rosie Rosette 2020. Today is December 15th, 2020. Are we going to talk about reparations? Because it seems like since the trend has gone down about being black and, black brutality and um, systematic racism and institutionalized racism, all the racism, whatever, since no one, has been televised as being killed or whatever by the police or whatever, we didn't forget all about the reparations. So Gavin Newsom had some type of committee regarding reparations. I haven't heard anything about that. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, whatever. I don't know if he's going to even remember anything about reparations once he gets in. Whatever. Kamala Harris, since again, you, I guess you want to be called black, but you're Indian, whatever. You're a person of color, but whatever. Can you put some reparations again? Not for you bougie bitches, because I keep seeing these bougie bitches who are getting all these Facebook grants. I don't see Facebook giving anything to poor people. I don't see Facebook giving any money to poor families who have COVID. I don't see Facebook giving, it's just the upper crust, or I'm not going to say people trying to do things. I think I seen 3 or 4 people on my Facebook, women of color, who have gotten Facebook grants. What about the women of color who have 5 kids and ain't got enough money, who have to take off work to take care of the kids who aren't in school and they can't pay their rent or something like that? What about those? Why doesn't Facebook have, or eBay or Google or um, Apple or Tesla or Microsoft, why don't you guys have grants for people who like really need? What about for the restaurant workers? Like, where are the funds for them? It's not just reparations for blacks. Like, the rich have gotten richer and the poor have gotten destitute. I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot of homeless out in the streets when all this is done and over with. The ones who didn't die. Okay? Now imagine the stress level of a single mom living in Silicon Valley who was working as a waitress, making, a good $40,000. That's enough. Well, it's not enough. 40, 50,000 with tips at a restaurant, but now the restaurant is closed. So not only does she not have income, she has no medical benefits. She might have to go on welfare. She has food stamps. Honey, food stamps, when you got 5 kids, rent is $2,000 or $3,000 a month for a 2 or 3 bedroom in the ghetto. The kids are at home eating up all the food. Not only do you have to feed them, but you have to teach them too. Then you have to worry about if you don't have a roof over here, if you're going to be evicted. Honey, that alone can bring down your immune system. So, Facebook, why don't you have a grant for those people? Okay? What about for the man who's taking care of his whole family? Kids, grandkids, whatever. You know how Mexicans do it, and I'm not being racist. No, they run deep in one household. But maybe Pops is, taking care of all of them. Maybe the wife can't speak English, the kids are all underage. What about them? Facebook, why don't you have a grant for them? Yeah, they might be getting food stamps, but only food stamps can only go so much. It's not like they're going to have $1,000 worth of food stamps, in their budget. He doesn't have a job because they've cut down, maybe he's a dishwasher or a cook in a restaurant. Okay, he is on unemployment, but all the prisoners in San Quentin that got all the unemployment money, it's like, come on. You know, I'm talking about reparations, but it's a whole gamut of other needy people. Let's not talk about all the homeless people. Let's not speak of all the people in the TL in San Francisco. Let's not talk about all of the people on in Guadalupe River who are homeless in Guadalupe Park. No, let's not talk about them. So Facebook, you giving, grants to all these bougie bitches, but you know, what about the families who need it? Because no one has gotten any stimulus checks. And then we have the immigrants who don't have, who are the backbones of the restaurant industry, but they can't file for unemployment. For one, the prisoners have taken all the money, but for two, they're not here legally. What about all the farm pickers, the people who pick the grapes and strawberries? We all love our grapes and strawberries. What about them? But Facebook is giving grants to these bitches that don't even need the money. Like, how do you make this happen? And then in San Francisco, okay, they have grants for people who own companies. $5,000 grants. Wait a minute. What about for the people in San Francisco who are paying high rent, who are facing eviction, who, can't pay the light bill? Okay, maybe the light bill is, on hold or whatever. Who has that PG&E, who has to make sure that her, kids all have masks to go to school, who need computers to do school, who, need tutoring and teaching, to keep up. What about, the women who, the CPS workers, are on their backs because for whatever reason. I don't know the stipulations. I mean, I was foster parent, but I've never been in that predicament, so I don't know. But, what about them, Facebook? Well, but let's go back to the reparations. What's going on, Gavin Newsom, with the reparations for California? Never heard of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, you're too busy going to lunches or birthday parties and groups without any mask or whatever, but yet you are on TV every weekday talking with the boring ass. Oh my God, those slides are so boring. Thank God you got your voice together, though. But you're such a hypocrite. But you know what? All politicians are hypocrites. No one's perfect, but you politicians get on my damn nerve. What about the reparations for black people in California? See, I'm plugging it. This is not trendy for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of blacks don't want to take the vaccine. Why? Because of what y'all did to us in the Tuskegee incident experiment. So what about our reparations for that? What about the fact that what happened to all of my, my ancestors who babies, were fed to alligators? That really is hurting me to hear that. What about all of the inequities that we have endured as black people? Oh, honey. Yeah, Galvin, you went to SI, went to your sister's school. So I've been around wealth, real wealth. The owners, not the players, honey, the owners of the teams. And their houses were just fabulous. I got a touch of the inequity back then. We're talking 30 years ago. See, the girls that I went to high school with, they have trust funds. They didn't have to worry about, buying books and all that. I remember this one girl. I don't know what type of money she has because I didn't really know who was the players or whatever. But anyway, I didn't know. She brought books first to keep in school at her locker, and then an extra set for her to bring at home. Yes, I was like, wow, but that was well. If your parents have that old money, but none of them look like wealth. No, 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 no. That's one thing you can tell people that got money, they ain't got to show it. Girl, them girls had holes in their shoes and, all that. You could never, ever see their wealth. No. Mm-mm. But their homes were amazing. Huge, 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 huge. Anyway, yeah. I saw the inequities then. 30 years ago. I understood the difference between institutionalized wealth or the lack of generational wealth. That's it, not institutionalized wealth. Generational wealth that have and have some. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some blacks who are wealthy. Not that type of wealth. Not in California. Maybe down south or back east, whatever, but not in California. I mean, granted, There's nigger wealth, nigger rich, and real wealth. Okay, like Oprah. This guy, this professor at the college that I went to would say that Oprah is the richest woman in America or in the world. So I'm like, that's not true. I don't like when people lie. Okay? If you're a professor, teach the truth. Oprah is not the richest person in the world, nor is she the richest person in America. Like, Oprah is like number 20 or 30 on Forbes list. Like, I think the woman that owns the sister that, the brother and sisters of Walmart, she's the wealthiest woman, I think. Now, Oprah, I don't think is even the wealthiest black woman in America. She's definitely not the richest black woman in the world. Granted, she's a billionaire, but that's still, I mean, there's, like I said, a billionaire does not make you the richest. Now, you in the billions, you know what I'm saying? Kanye has a billion. Um, Jay-Z is worth a billion. But there's people who have billions. You see, multiple. You know what I'm saying? Like this guy that I used to work with, he donated $100 million to Washington State. No, Washington Washington University. That's wealth when you can donate $100 million. I think he has a couple buildings in his name. Yeah, a couple buildings. All right, that's wealth. He has homes all over America. No, I'm sorry, homes all over the world. For his, I think he purchased a car. See, his assistant got cars, I think, for her 10-year anniversary for working with him. You see what I'm saying? There's a difference. When people say they have a big house, no, you have a nice size house, but you know, again, when you go to Versailles, when you go to Versailles, that's wealth. When you visit palaces and castles, that's wealth. Does this make sense to you? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? That's wealth. Not these little 30,000 square foot homes. No, no, no. That's a nice size home. But if you only got one, honey, for 30,000, I'm talking about, well, how big is Versailles? Let's look at how big Versailles is. And see, and this is what I have a problem with. People that's why you guys need to travel. You need to travel. Versailles, man, you guys need to see Versailles. There we go. What's the square footage? Let's see. Okay. Oh, God. Okay. All right. So, when people think, like Gucci Man, or who's the guy who owned the biggest piece of property, the most expensive, I think. Who's the guy who made the TV shows and then his daughter is like spending money or whatever, and the wife? I don't know. Aaron, whatever. Okay. Go to Paris. Take like an hour train outside of Paris. Go to Versailles, right? That's when you see opulence. Versailles equals opulence. That's when you see wealth of kings and queens. Like we're talking, an exorbitant amount of opulence. You guys need to travel. Go to Europe. Even though they stole all the money, whatever, from Africa, but okay, that's whole nother video, right? Go to Europe, honey. You haven't seen opulence. Go to Paris, take a train ride. You can take the train. It's about an hour outside of Paris. You get off the train and you can see Versailles from the train station. I think they added a stop. I remember went to Versailles second or third time. My ex and we went. He had never been to Paris. He had never been to Europe. Okay, fine. I really wanted him to see Versailles. So we had to go 2 days because first day it was closed. We went too late. The second day, I think we jumped in line. I don't know. So this was I think my second or third time at Versailles. So they added a station because first time I went, I had to walk a long way or whatever. There was a shuttle that goes in between whatever, but this time I swear I think they added a station because I remember that station. But anyway, so I'm trying to get my bearings when we got out of the station or whatever. So I'm like, okay, because I remember I had to walk down at least like 20-30 minutes because I didn't want to take the shuttle. I think I was cheap or whatever, broke, whatever. He turns around. He says, "Is that it?" Ooh, I mean, oh, it's magical. Magical. So I'm saying all this to say if you think you're rich, okay? If you think you're rich, go to Versailles. That'll humble you. Elon Musk, if you think you're rich, go to Versailles. I'm saying all this to say, look, we still need our 40 acres and a mule, okay? So I don't know how you were telling people, oh, everything is equal now. No, 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 no. We need our reparations, and we need them now. Okay. All right.